We want to cover email marketing, and once again with Mr. Randy Smith.
Hello.
And the reason we've got Randy here today is because, in my opinion, he's one of the best email marketers out there. Before I even go any further, if you're not on Randy's list, get on it. Just go to his blog, and you'll find it. Just search for Randy Smith, randolphsmith.com, isn't it, your blog?
Yeah.
Get on his list and just watch what he does. He does things a lot different to me, and that's why I want Randy here today. We actually did this training about 2 or 3 years ago as a webinar, and the feedback we got was phenomenal. So we decided to re-record it and add some extra input.
Do it here.
So by now, your blog should be established or getting established. I mean, it's only been just over a week if you're going day by day, but you're now in a position where we're going to start product creation. But before we do, we want to sort of instill in you the correct way to do email marketing, because if you're doing things right, you're going to start building your list now. Now, a lot of what we talk about will apply to when you've actually launched your product, but it can be applied today. Okay, so from the day you get your first subscriber, you can start implementing everything we are going to talk about.
I think that's an important point, John. I think it should be from when you've got one subscriber on your list. You should be sending out your emails.
Get off to the right start.
Yeah.
Don't
work. So many people go, oh, well, I've done my product creation and I've had my product launch, and all right, John, I had my launch a couple of weeks back and now I've got some subscribers, and it's like, no, you haven't, because that was weeks ago.
Yeah.
And the ones from your blog were months ago, and you've never been in touch. They don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
It's important to, as soon as you've got subscribers, start doing your email marketing, whatever.
Very, very good point.
But that does lead to the question, some people say, well, why is email marketing still relevant? And obviously we feel that it's our most important.
Well, we don't fail, we know.
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably heard marketers say this before. If I lost everything today, apart from my list, I'd be okay. If all of my products disappeared, obviously I'd have my knowledge and things like that. I'd be okay. And Randy, you've told this story many times about when you got hacked and all of your sites went down.
2010. And lost every single site due to a hacker. I won't mention what country it was from because it's irrelevant. It was just a nasty person. Hacked, took every domain I had, every site, put malware into everything. Literally, I had to wipe out my entire business. And the only thing that I had left, because it was on different servers and whatever, it was my personal email list. And because of that, I was able to, that year, I had a chat with you about it. That was the end of 2010, 2011, we put Partnerships for Success together.
That's right, yeah.
But at the end of 2000, you said, well, I've got this, and I think it was multi-profit websites.
Websites, yeah, I remember that.
And you said, you've got a list still, Randy. Promote this for Christmas, and you might get some Christmas cash. And I came on your leaderboard. I think I made about $2,000 or $3,000 for Christmas money that kept me going.
Yeah.
Until we got into the new year, and I started to rebuild my sites, and we also set up the partnership program. So, but that was then. People might say, is it still relevant? And it's like, well, open your email inbox. Do you not get emails from not just obviously marketers trying to sell your products,
and not just Nigerian princes offering you billions of dollars?
But your banks, your building societies, your energy suppliers, club cards, committees, associations, political groups.
Yeah.
I mean, crikey, I can't tell you how many political emails I've had from political parties over the last recent elections we had and everything. So everybody still relies on email marketing. In fact, the people who rely on email marketing the most are the ones that are telling you, I've got this new gadget gizmo that does this, that, and the other in a browser, on a desktop, whatever, and automated, artificial intelligent, whatever. Email marketing's dead. And how did they tell us?
Via email. Isn't it funny how you'll get told that the latest, greatest way to get people's attention, which at this moment in time is messenger bots, isn't it funny how they're selling it all via email and not via messenger?
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you think? I mean, just to go back on all these different companies, Amazon probably email me 2-3 times a day. And it's not a problem for me, There's a travel company who's always offering me different deals on vacations and things like that. And like you see, all these companies, email, I want you to understand this, email is going absolutely nowhere. Ask yourself how often you check your emails, and it's probably multiple times per day. You get alerts on your phone. It's probably it's even bigger now because you've got them on your phone. You're getting alert, all that sort of thing. So you must understand, yes, phase one, okay, we've talked about blogging, about how your blog is your most important site, your central hub, but email is your most important asset, and it's something you need to focus on from day one. I mean, that's why we start doing it. I think it's day 5, something like that. It's something you need to focus on, is building your list. But it's not just about building your list, and we're not talking about building your list in this video, in this presentation. We're talking about what you should be doing with your list once you get that first subscriber. This is when you need to do this.
So you've got a subscriber, you want to be sending emails, and then even then, it's a case of, right, so why are we sending emails? So what's the purpose of the email? Now, this is where, again, I'll start with the controversy straight away, because every other marketer out there is going to say, to sell the product, you send a promo, you sell a product. And I'm like, well, I have multi-purpose as well as single-purpose emails. So, I might want to sell a product, but I might want to just send somebody to my Facebook profile. I might want to send them to my blog. I might not necessarily want to sell a product. I might want to train my subscribers, give them some free content. The point is, there's always going to be a call to action. So the purpose of an email, whatever the content is to get a click.
Yeah.
That's the purpose, to get a click. So sometimes I see people trying like crazy to sell an email. It's like, stop that. You're not selling. The sales page will do the selling. The email sells the click.
Yeah.
And that's all you're doing. You're selling a click, giving somebody a reason.
Let the sales page do the selling. Now, you can pre-frame someone before they go to a sales page by obviously talking about the product. Let's say you're promoting a product as an affiliate. You can pre-frame them. And just as a side note, I usually get my copy, 9 times out of 10, not from the JV page. I'll read the sales page. And I'll take some highlights, bullet points, things like that. But you don't want to, you just want a few lines, 2-3 paragraphs, sometimes even 1 paragraph, telling people to do something, and then when they click, then it's down to the copywriter, the vendor, to then sell the product.
The sales page,
you're selling the product,
or if you're selling a click to a blog post, then the blog post sells the idea of commenting, subscribing, or clicking another link, or you're sending them to Facebook to look at a post you put on Facebook or a video, and then that will then tell them what to do next. So all you're doing is that one purpose in mind. So you might have a multi-purpose email, but it's one purpose in mind, so remember that when you're doing your emails. All you're doing is selling the click. You want the link, whatever the link may be, to be clicked. But obviously to do that, we need to get the emails delivered in the first place. So I think that takes us to our
delivered and opened delivered and opened.
Well, delivery, you've got to go delivery before it'll open.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
So you want to, as I suggest, you want people looking forward to getting those emails. You want them arriving in their inbox. And sometimes that's difficult these days, and that's where email is harder these days.
Yeah, Gmail is funny. It's funny how many big marketers I see end up in my spam, and I haven't put them there. I haven't reported them as spam, and it just happens. But I'm going to give you one tip before Randy goes on. Here's what I do quite often. I'll ask my subscribers to reply about something. I'll ask them their opinion about something. I also say in all of my emails, if you've got a question, hit reply. Okay, so if someone replies to you and then you reply back, you build that relationship through Gmail.
Yeah.
And you're sort of on their safe list then.
Well, it automatically whitelists your
if they reply to you and you reply back, you've built that connection. Now, what a lot of marketers do is they send an email, they send their broadcast emails from an email address they don't check, which is crazy. So make sure when you send your emails, okay, it's from an email address that you check regularly, at least once a day. And then if you do get responses from people, always respond back, and then you've built that connection. And then you should hit that inbox after that every single time.
I mean, there's other things you can do is, number one, use a professional service. Don't try and find a cheat way around, or self-host something off your blog, or share a service with potential other spammers or whatever else. Use a professional service, because I once had an autoresponder company, and when you're talking ISPs, SPFs, DKIM settings, and a load of other BS settings that, it's so confusing and complex. And, I never understood it. I had a tech guy doing all this stuff. I just understood how ridiculous it was sometimes to actually get delivered by the ISPs. So that's why if somebody like AWeber's already got teams of professionals making sure they're getting a 90% delivery rate, use somebody like AWeber, get response, somebody professional. Yeah. That's the first thing. Next thing is how you, as John's just said there, replies. So many people go, what email address? Oh, no reply at whatever. Mm-hmm. Crazy, and they have a no reply address. No.
The amount of big companies that do that as well, the the energy suppliers and things like that, the amount of big companies do that, it astounds me. It astounds me.
So don't use a no reply, use a, I personally have mine as randy@randolphsmith.com. Yeah. That's where the emails are sent from. Yeah. And so if somebody clicks reply, it comes to randy@randolphsmith.com, and then I'll reply back, and that gets me whitelisted. But again, the from name, a lot of people don't realise.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest reasons your emails get opened at the end of the day. It's if people who are following me and watching what I'm doing and taking my advice and taking the bonuses I offer and things like that, what gets the email open is the name John Thornhill at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
getting them open. So if you've got from John Thornhill, from Randy Smith, and you've had an email or two that you found to be value, then you do tend to reply or whitelist, or you'll mark that and say, I'll definitely read that one later when I get a chance, or wherever it might be. So your from name on the email helps to get it opened, and then of course the next thing after that would be your subject lines.
Yeah. I mean, just let's go back to the from name. What Randy's talking about, actually using your actual name. But I'm at the same time not just talking about using your name. I'm talking about getting your name recognised as a person people want to follow. So we're going to touch on all these subjects a lot more. But if you're just sending the offer of the day every day, different products and hyping them up, after a short amount, probably a week or two, they're going to be thinking, well, this guy's just after my money, And probably in the back of our mind, we want to make sales, but ultimately, for me, your subscriber's a real person, okay? You have to remember, if you've got 10,000 people on your list, you picture those 10,000 people in a football stadium or something like that, and imagine you're reaching out to them. What would you be saying to them in real life? You wouldn't be hyping. Well, not me personally. You wouldn't be hyping things up. You wouldn't be using false scarcity and things like that, and false urgency, which I see a lot of marketers do. They'll say something's closing and it's not. You'd be real, and this is the big one. You would have their interests at heart, which means you're not promoting crap. You're not promoting, we've seen it time and time and time again where products are getting launched where they don't deliver on what they promise. Stay away from that sort of thing. And ultimately, you want the best for your subscribers. You want them to get the success that you're trying to maybe provide for them, or the advice you're giving them. And if you do that, everything else just falls into.
Well, that's one of the things we talk about when we're doing one-on-one coaching is when you're writing to people, where you just said about your football stadium with 10,000. If you've got one person on your list, or you've got 10 people or 100 people, it doesn't matter.
It's a person.
But some people say, how do I write the emails, Randy? I don't know what to say. I've got 100 people here now. And it's like, what I always used to do, and I genuinely did this myself, in the early days when I had 6, 7, 10, 12 subscribers, I had a mate of mine that was curious about what I was doing. So every email I wrote to him.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I actually, his name was Jed, and I used to go, hi Jed, this is what I've been up to today, and I found this great tool that'll help to do this and that, the other, and blah, blah, blah. And it's really easy because I struggle with the tech side, but if you look at this, Jed, you'll find it's great. If you want to do this sort of thing that I'm doing as well.
I hope you took Jed out the emails.
And then, after I'd wrote the email, I would go in and I would remove Jed and put first name fix or whatever it might be.
That's a good one.
But that way, I always had that frame of mind that I was just writing to one guy.
Yeah, there's only one person open, that person reading your email is one person, isn't it? So
and that's how I wrote, and that's how I started to sort of build relationships with subscribers and what have you. It's all... get your email opened is if they start to know, like, and trust you, they will start looking for your from name. Yeah. And then they'll look at the subject line, and the subject line will dictate whether they open it right now or leave it till later on this evening when they've got a bit more time.
Can I just add to that as well? I've got some people who've been on my mailing list since 2006, and they're still on. You can go into wherever, you can see they're open, and you can see everything they're doing. You can see when they're clicking, and I've had people doing that since 2006. Do you know what I mean? So that just goes to show you, just one person on your list could literally generate you thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars over a time.
Well, that's why, again, when we talk about launching products and the money we've made during a launch, I always say, well, no mind the launch, how much are the subscribers going to be worth to you over the coming years?
And their buyers as well.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we're not at that stage yet, but when you do come to launch your product, it's not just about launching your product and putting a few grand in the bank, which we want to happen and we hope happens, and it usually does happen. It's about that buyer list you've built, and even if you build, let's say you have a launch and you sell 500 units, which is a conservative figure, you've then got 500 buyers you can then take forward and
help
do things right, and they'll stick by you.
Yeah. So your subject lines, and this is where, and I've got people literally have been on my list for more than 10 years, John.
Yeah.
And some of them will open the email the second they see it, and some will wait because of my style of email. They know it's going to be a bit of a read, so they'll leave it until tea time when they've got the time to sit down and settle in and read it, and that depends on the subject lines in a lot of cases. Some of the examples of subject lines that get opens are, and we've got them all up on the screen, so we won't tease you one by one, but scarcity, ending today, or
scarcity. That is true. I can't stress how important that is. Do you know what I tend to do when I'm doing an affiliate promotion? I will ask the marketer what is going to happen when because usually there's a countdown timer on the last day. I will ask them what's going to happen when that countdown timer expires, because what I don't want to be doing is telling my subscribers something's going to end, and then you see a countdown timer run out and nothing happens. That is very frustrating to me. So I always find out, and obviously if it's my own launch or my own promotions or whatever I'm doing, when I say something's going to happen when a timer runs out, it runs out. So you don't, I would say when you're promoting launches, and by the way, anyone in Partnership with Success who has a launch, we make sure that when their launch ends, whatever they say is going to, if the price is going to go up to $97 when the timer runs out, I make sure they know that when that timer runs out, you do that. You don't
remember a few times I've spoke to you and you've been tired because you waited up till 5 a.m, because we work everything launch-wise on American time frames.
Right, yeah.
And you've been getting up at 5 a.m, which is midnight EST, when John says his sale's going to end, and he's been up and out of bed 5 o'clock in the morning editing.
Luckily, we can automate that now. Usually, I mean, I had a launch not long ago, and I did have to get up. We had multiple things going on, but that can be automated now. You can have a countdown timer redirect to a page where the price is higher or where your bonus expires. But back in the day, we couldn't do that. So I was literally 4:50 a.m. I was getting up, rubbing my eyes, firing up the laptop, and then going back to sleep at like 5:10 in the morning. Yeah.
So scarcity, as John says, when it's true scarcity.
Can I just add to this as well? Scarcity. If you're doing an affiliate promotion, you don't just want to mail on the last day and say this is closing tonight. You want to have a sequence of emails. We'll talk more about this as we go through, but I just want to put this into your head now. You want a sequence of emails, what is leading to the end event, whatever it may be, your bonus. We
will cover that, John.
But it works better. Yeah. We're not just saying send out one email and say you've got 3 hours to take action. That's not what you want to do. You want it to build on that. So,
Sure. And curiosity angle is always a good one. In fact, we did. There's a webinar in here on blogging, recording on blogging, and you had that curiosity
in the titles, in your
blog title and whatever.
Number 58,
you can't whistle.
Yeah, on that one as well.
You can't whistle with a mouthful of custard. I mean, that made me open it up to see what the heck is that about.
And if you had an email with that title, that's a type of email. Well, what is this about? Yeah.
So curiosity. Benefit-ridden emails, the classic WIIFM, what's in it for me, do this and bank X, or do this save time, or whatever it might be. Numbers. Now I say numbers there because we could have had lists or numbers, or what, because numbers could be a headline that says make $123 in 3 days, 4 hours. It could be those type of numbers, which naturally, again, they fall into the curiosity band, or it could be numbers as in 3 top methods of free traffic, 5 top ways to get more affiliates, or
yeah, you could be sending them to a blog post as well if you're doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing as well, once you do start to build your list, you obviously want to be mailing every time you write something new. But yeah, the numbers, I always find if you can be very specific, you know, you can say something like, yesterday I earned $237.67 by doing, and then 3 dots.
Yeah.
People want to know what you want. How do you do that? Especially if it's, you know, it has to be true.
And not just $200 or plus.
Yeah, if you put the
$237.67.
Yeah, we do that. We do that with headlines.
Show a screenshot or whatever,
Yeah.
to prove that it's actually true. You know, and then again, questions. You know, lots of people are happy to help. You ask a question, people will open the email to give their 2 pennies worth.
Yeah.
They may not necessarily reply, but everybody, if there's a question asked, everybody has an opinion. And they'll open the email, even if they don't reply, they'll open the email because they want to internalise their reply in their head. They want to give an opinion as to what the question is you've asked. Or
For example, you might say, do you do this on Facebook, Bob, you know, or Jim or whatever? And then they'll think, do what on Facebook? What's he talking about? I need to know what he's going to ask me. Or do you do this with your blog, Jim? You know, I find doing things like that gets lots and lots of opens. And by the way, all this is tracked through Aweber, so you can see, you'll find over time the sort of subject lines what work best for you. And what you don't want to do, though, if you find something that works, don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah, you've got to have a mix of all of these.
I mean, there's some headlines that they always get opens, but I hate them. And somebody mentioned one on Facebook the other day, and it was like, you know, your commission.
Oh yeah.
You know, or you've made a commission, and you open it and it says, "Imagine getting emails like this every day." And that just annoys people.
You don't want to,
especially when they're not earning yet and they get ahead.
Because they feel like they're being misled. Yeah. And if you trick your subscriber into opening an email and then the subject line is something completely, you know, the actual subject is completely irrelevant, you're going to find they'll unsubscribe.
Another good one that's a once in a while one, and hopefully when it's genuine, but you know how even after how long we've been online, John? Between us, it's like over 40 odd years.
Yeah.
20 years plus each. We've been online full time. I think we were both about 2006. So 14 years full time income. So 28 years between us, full time income online. How many times have we sent an email that went, "Sorry, I apologise.
Yeah.
I messed up."
Can I just tell a quick story? The first time I really did that was I sent an email what had the subject line warning. I can't remember I think I might have even just said warning, and I got so many replies saying that I frightened them about something, and I literally thought, oh my God, I've ruined my list here. I can't believe what's happening here, and I had about 50 people who had replied saying, you know, what did you do that for? So the next day I sent another email out saying sorry about the warning, and I literally opened my heart up. I said, look guys, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I used the subject line what caused panic, let's say. And like I say, I can't remember the exact subject. Then I got even more emails back, replies saying thank you for being honest, thank you for being open.
People like to see, especially when you're experienced marketers, they like to see that you own up to mistakes. And they like to see that, hey, we're human, the same as everybody else.
Of course,
you know,
of course.
And we do mess up. To finish off on the subject lines, if you're ever stuck for subject lines, go and have a wander down the local newsagent and just look at the magazine stands. Because at the end of the day, those magazines are all like emails waiting to be opened on a stand, you know, and they need somebody to pick it up and want to open it up. So the headlines on the front cover are like subject lines, and that might inspire you. You might take a few notes if you've got a little dictaphone, a voice recorder, what have you, take a few notes, or, you know.
I'd also advise as well, look at what you're opening. You know, do you skip past an email because it's got a boring subject line? Obviously don't use that, well, maybe not use that subject line yourself. Look at what you're actually doing yourself. You can actually learn a lot from how you react to other people marketing. Now, obviously you might react different to other marketers. I mean, for example, people starting out might get upset because you give them a one-time offer, which is something you have to do because it works. But you'll find over time that you'll see, you know, you'll see the successful marketers and you know who they are. You you can not copy, just more stress, not copy, but you can sometimes model whatever.
Well, I mean, I think we mentioned it later on, but very briefly, one of the things I do, and again, a lot of the coaching members on the calls will ask the question, oh, should I go and unsubscribe from everybody? And I'm always like, no, don't unsubscribe. Keep subscribed to people.
Yeah.
But what I've got is a little folder in my Gmail that says swipes.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking down, and I'll be honest, I get hundreds
Yeah,
per day. So I don't open every email. But what I do on the morning, I'll look down and I'll click everything and then highlight the ones I'm going to keep and unclick them so that I can delete the vast majority. But anything that makes me think, what's that about? I'll keep it. Anything that's from a name I know, like and trust, yourself, Terry Shepherd, like anything like that, I'll click and say, right, I'm reading them. Everything else gets deleted. Then I'll look at the ones that I've kept. And if it's like, why did I keep that? Because the subject line made me want to open the email. Right, that's going in my swipe file. Or I might open it and then go, oh my goodness, I want to click that link, but I've already got product like that. I don't even need it. Why? Why did I want to click the link? What about the email made me want to click the link? That's going in my swipe file.
Yeah.
And that way I build up my own swipe file of stuff that made me want to click and open and what have you.
I mean, I'm on Most Marketers lists. Don't get me wrong, there's a few I want to learn from, and most of the time I'm watching what they do and, picking up tips. It's just what you do.
So next is content. What do you put in your emails? What do we write about? And again, there's lots of different formats for that. I mean, normally speaking, you'll have a bit of a format that goes something along the lines of you'll get a hello, an introduction, that might be followed by a reason for writing. That might be followed by the promo for a product or the benefits of a promo for a product with the link and a call to action. And then a sign off and a PS and some sort of disclaimer at the bottom, what have you. But what we're talking about really is we want to talk about content that's going to keep your subscribers happy. And I suppose the main thing there is going back to what we were saying earlier. If you're building that relationship, so you're giving them something useful. One of the things I noticed early on with John's emails, John never just sends the copy and swipe promo. John tells you how he feels you could benefit from using that, whatever it might be. So he'll give you some tips and hints or some practical advice on using the product that is recommended.
Or what I would do with it, or what I am doing with it. Yeah. I mean, when you're promoting stuff, you might not use every product you promote, but you because you might be using something similar, or you might have the experience in that area or whatever. But you would still tell people what they should be doing with it. And what I do a lot as well, I mean, this is it's not irrelevant, but I try and offer bonuses that's going to help people get more from it. But I always try and be brutally honest, and I never use hype. I never, even if I think something's amazing, you'll not see me say, this is the best thing I've ever seen, only for the next year to promote something else, say it's the best thing I've ever seen. You can only say something's the best thing you've ever seen a few times. You know what I mean?
It's the old best thing since sliced bread. Oh, that's what you said yesterday about whatever, and the day before about whatever. So so that's one of the things I noticed about John. So, and again, lots of people will write emails in different ways styles, and different styles. The content needs to be of benefit to your reader. Now, if you're sharing stuff about your personal life and that's helping them build a relationship and get to know you, that's a benefit. If it's something like the way John does it, where he says, here's a product, but here's how I would use it if I was you, or here's what I'm doing with it, that's a benefit to you. If it's a marketer that just says, hey, look, here's a product and I put these bonuses that will help with that product, it's a benefit. The last thing you want to do is just go, here, go buy this. And then the next day, here, go buy this. And the next day, here, go buy this.
This is your last chance.
Last best thing since sliced bread every single day. Boring, So you need to sort out what sort of content you're going to write, and you need to format that content in such a way that it's nice and simple and straightforward. In fact, can we jump to the next slide?
Well, let me, before you do, Randy, but just something about the content. What Randy does very, very well is, if you're on Randy's list, you'll know what he's up to. He usually tells you what he's doing that day. He tells you when he's going shopping. He tells you when he's going camping. He tells you when he's getting a new carpet fitted in his home, or he's decorating the bedroom. I don't do that, and that's fine because I've got a different style to Randy. But what Randy does, I think he does probably better than most marketers out there. He'll let you into his life, and it's almost like you know him. and that is huge. You know, like he's building that relationship with you. So when he does say, "Oh, you should check this out," you sort of almost pre-sold before you visit the sales page because Randy's telling me to buy this.
I get other things as well, like in fact, Christmas was amazing. I can't remember if it was Christmas Day or Boxing Day. I saw a rather large commission come through, and I thought, "Whoa, I haven't promoted that product for months." And then I saw an email come through from a guy on my list, and he said, "Remember when we talked about XYZ product 6 months ago, Randy?" And I said, "Oh, I really think it's great, but it's an annual subscription. I don't want to commit myself," because it was quite high ticket. He says, "Well, I just noticed that they've got a special on for Christmas where it's lifetime. Still a big chunk, but it was lifetime. So I grabbed your old affiliate link and I tried it and I think it worked. Can you just let me know? Did you get the commission all right?" Yeah. And I was like, "Thanks. Yes, I did."
I have that happen as well, where a subscriber will email me and say, "Oh, John, I just want to let you know I bought through your link. I just want to, because subscribers are not silly, they're not stupid. They know it's like 99 out of 100, I would say, would know you're sending an affiliate link. And yeah, the amount of times a subscriber will reply and say, or contact me through my support desk, just want to let you know I bought through your link. I want to thank you for what you've done, blah, 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 blah," which is amazing.
Yeah, which is all part of that building that relationship, So yeah, formatting. Couple of things on the formatting. One, I'm talking about making it easy to read your email.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things...
Paragraphs. Use paragraphs.
But short paragraphs as well.
4 or 5 lines tops.
Yes, yeah. And as I've seen, I don't know if you've tried to read an email on a phone. God, blimey. But you've got to think a couple of things. Some people are using phones, some are using iPads and devices of that nature, some are using laptops, and some are using desktops. And on a desktop, you might be able to read one sentence with 50 words in it from left to right of screen, but you put that on a tablet or a mobile device, and that suddenly becomes a paragraph in itself. Yeah, or you end up having to scroll your tablet left and right, and nobody's used to doing that. They're used to tablets and phones. We scroll up and down. We don't do left and right. So straight away somebody's going to go, click, close that. I can't read it. I have to scroll left and right. So, and that's why a little trick. Now, I'll tell you my little trick first. A little trick I used to do is I write my emails in a text doc.
Text document,
yeah. And all I did was I went across the top of the page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On 0 actually. And I did that 5 times across the top, and I knew that was 50 words and then characters rather. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 55 characters. Right. That showed me how wide 55 characters was, and then I'd write me. Every time I noticed my line was coming to the end of those numbers, I'd hit return and start a new line. And then that's my line sorted, so my width. Now that's easy to read on a desktop, but it's also straightforward and easy to read on a phone, a tablet and any other device. Keeping your character length to 50-ish, 50, 55, 60 characters per line. And then the next thing is any paragraph, no more than 4 or 5 lines in the paragraph, and then have a break. Because if you start trying to read down a load of paragraphs, and even if it's not a full break, if it's just a new paragraph because they ended a line 3/4 and then they started again, your eyes can get lost quite easily.
You need a space, basically.
Yeah, and if you get lost, you lose interest, you close it, or you delete it.
So I used to do what you do, but myself and Dave Nicholson created a tool specifically for this called WordWrap. We'll put a link underneath this video. Where it does it for you. So that line break you're talking about, you can tell it how many characters you want. So you can see I want it to be 40 characters wide, 50 characters wide. I think I'm currently at 39 characters wide. I'm going a nice slim, it does it for you basically. You write your email in full width, click on wrap, and it wraps it for you. Basically makes your emails mobile friendly. So that
when we talk about how things are so much easier today than when we started out. All these little snippets of software like that.
But we created it out of necessity. We created it because we didn't want to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 anymore. We wanted to write as normal, click a button, and then copy and paste into Aweber, get response, whatever, and then...
I don't have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 anymore. I just write, and I just know I'm around about, and it's just...
Because if you don't get this right, what you'll find is you'll have if you don't get it right, you'll find when you go on Gmail on your phone or something like that, you'll find that one word will be on one line and then the next line, and it just looks a mess, and you don't want that.
So so that's part of the formatting. So you've got your formatting of, your from email name, your subject line, then you've got your format of how your email goes in terms of your intro, your promo, your signature, your PS and what have you. You've got the format of the characters. And all of this is part of letting people see that you're conforming to a certain way and a certain style. And that all helps part of training your readers to know what to expect. And if they know what to expect from you, then it's easier to train them to what you want them to do, as in click that link. So they get familiar, they like your style, they start to know, like and trust you, they get used to opening your emails, they know there's always going to be, on my emails, there's always going to be the top bits about my day, then I'll introduce whatever product I'm promoting, then I'll give them a bit of advice or a bit of training or what have you, and a sign off. Then I've got my PS with a couple of links and what have you, and then I have my joke of the day, which I'll come on later and what have you.
Do that every day,
And they know the format of my emails, so they will always open them, even if they just want to open it for the joke of the day or what have you. So you're training your readers as part of building your relationships, and you're training them as part of what to expect, so they know where to click. And when to click.
This is something. I mean, if I can be honest, my readers know from me they're going to get emails every day. We'll talk about frequency soon, but they know I've got their best interest at heart. They'll only promote stuff I believe in. They know a lot of the time I'll offer bonuses, and they know, I'll be honest. Ultimately, they know they know I want them to succeed, and ultimately, you're training your readers. If you send a hypey email every day promoting something different, you're literally training your readers to think that you're just one of these jumped up marketers who doesn't care about them, and you'll be looking to stay on their, have them on your list for about a week.
Yeah. Just one thing I forgot to mention on the, my readers are also trained to know that whichever they prefer, they'll get. I do, and that goes back to the formatting one I forgot to mention. Text or HTML, people ask. And then you get people that go on about open rates. And what a lot of people don't realise is a text email doesn't show an open rate.
Yeah.
It's the HTML email that has a 1 pixel image in it that reports back that image has been shown, even though you don't see it. And that's how the autoresponder companies know that you've opened it.
So, use both. Basically, when you go into Aweber, do HTML, and then copy the HTML message and put the text version in, correct it if you need to. If you need, sometimes you have to change the link depending on how you're doing it. But use both.
Use both.
Yeah.
Always use both, and that's what I always do. Yeah. And that way, you will get some people that will only open the text because it takes up less data and all the rest of it. So your open rates are never going to be as accurate as they really are. They're always going to show lower. So just sort of drop that one in there. So moving on, we're building relationships based on the emails. We're telling people, opening up a bit about whether it's training or advice or what have you. The point is, whether it's John's style, my style, or other marketers' styles, and there's some other styles out there that do get the opens and the clicks that we get, but it's about the relationships, and what you're looking to do is to get that, what they call the know, like and trust factor. If they get to know you and they like you and then get to trust you, they will click a link and have a look at what you're recommending. We only want them to buy it if it's going to be of service to them, not just doing it for the commissions.
You actually say that, don't you?
I do. I tell them, don't buy it if you're not going to use it.
Don't buy it. Which is, I don't say that, but I've noticed you say that a lot. I mean, I won't say go and buy it. I will, produce the benefits and add my opinion and maybe add extra information. But I've noticed you do that. I mean, ultimately, when you're building this relationship, it's all about what you do every day with your email marketing. And we're going to talk about frequency soon, but it is something you should do regularly. In fact, I'll probably wait for that. But ultimately, it's about your personality coming across. It's about the fact I'll not keep repeating this. It's about the fact you want to help your subscribers coming across. And it starts from day one. Just, like we said right at the start, you don't want to get 10 subscribers on your list and not email them for 3 months because they'll not know who you are. So it starts from day one.
Yeah. And
frequency. I'll follow up on the frequency, okay? I mail daily without fail. without fail, if you're on my list, you will get an email from me every day. Now, if you're obviously you are in the Partnership for Success program, I actually take you off my prospect lists, or I exclude you. So, if you are wanting to actually get on my list where I mail, you're actually going to find that hard, but there's ways we can do that, and usually that's through my blog. So if you go on through my blog, I don't exclude that list. So because I get asked from partnership members here, John, why have you stopped emailing me? Well, I haven't stopped emailing you, but I've excluded you because what I don't want to do when you're doing this program is get distracted. But if you want to watch what I'm doing, go to my blog, get on my list there, and then you can see. Because I get that quite a lot.
I mean, frequency-wise, I used to, once upon a time, I used to send one email a week.
Me too.
Me too. And then I'd have my blog and what have you. And I think it was you that actually said, hey, I've tried this, Randy. Somebody suggested it to me and you tried it and then you suggested it. And I said, oh, John, what, every day? Crikey, how many unsubscribes am I going to get? And I did it as an experiment and I've checked all my figures before.
It goes up. Your unsubscribes go down and your opens go up.
Actually, at the time I tried it, it was when the last email I sent as a weekly email, I had 21 unsubscribes, and then I started doing for a week, I sent a daily email, and I was getting 2 to 3 unsubscribes a day, which actually at the end of the week it was 20 instead of 21. So one less.
Even though it said much more.
But the weekly email got me like 3 or 4 sales, of that. Whatever it was that I was in the week, and the daily one, I'm suddenly getting 3 or 4 sales per day. So it was like, wow, yeah. I mean, nowadays I only mail 6 days a week. I tend to leave Sundays unless it's a really, really, really special offer that's ending. I leave Sundays and I Skype off and I have family time and what have you.
I tend to mail on a Sunday because usually that's when something's closing. But just to go back to how often I will mail at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. I've been known to email 5 times in one day for a particular product if I really believe in it and I really think they should get it and time's running out and my bonus is expiring. Basically, it's a culmination of everything that's happened through the week. And usually the last day is you'll make more sales on the last day than you will of the previous 4, 5, 6 days.
But you can only really do that if you've got what we've already discussed, the relationship with the list.
You've trained your readers, they know what's going to happen.
People are just going to...
you can't just do it. You've got to do it.
So you've trained your list, you've built the relationship, they know, like, and trust you, they know what to expect. You even tell them, I'm going to be mailing you multiple times for this offer. So they know. And there's a difference there because of that relationship compared to somebody who's just more or less spamming with permission. And suddenly gets lots of unsubscribes because they do it without having the relationship in place, without explaining to the list why they're doing it. They're just sending out the copy and paste emails one after another, and people are just like, what is this? Just another advert in the inbox, just another advert in the inbox.
I'm going to ignore or unsubscribe from, or report as spam, which people do.
So so we recommend daily emails, but as part of the whole package of building the relationship.
Not just a daily email where you copy and paste or you promote something. You let people into your life a little. Make sure you've got their best interest at heart. I've said that again. Make sure you're genuinely trying to help them.
Yeah, and basically, if you're going to use the copy and pastes, then adapt them.
Don't just copy and paste.
Don't just use copy and paste, and that's where John will say, hey, look, here's the email, the guys are, whatever, here's the swipe email, and here's how I'm going to use it. So he adapts it and gives you that extra bit of content. It might just be a case of a little bit of an intro before you use the swipe, or adapting the swipe if you feel that I wouldn't use those words.
It's not your style. 9 times out of 10, it's not your style. You've got to at least, at the very least, make it your style of writing. So if you use certain words and phrases, I mean, for example, we are British, and sometimes we're using American swipes, and it's got American terms in. Like I'll never use the word gangbusters. It's one of those words that I'm not going to use it. So if someone says this is converting like gangbusters in an email, or works like gangbusters, I'm not going to use that. I'll say, it's working really well.
Listen,
something like
listen, bro, you need to look at it. We don't use those terms. We adapt the copy and paste.
Something else I said earlier, and I do want to make sure I'm getting it in here as well. I use swipes, okay, but what I tend to do is I will copy it, put it into a document, reword as necessary, but what I also find myself doing is going to the sales page and seeing, finding out what the product is, the benefits, etc. And a lot of the time, I'll take my copy and paste from the actual sales page. I'll usually look for the bullets and take those and rework those and things like that. I've never copied from a JV page and hit paste and hit send for a long, long time because you don't get the same. Because your email is the same as everyone else's if you do that.
I do a little extra. I look at the sales page, but I look at the JV page, but not the swipe emails. I look at how he's pitching us.
Yeah.
Like,
what
in
this
this product,
this product's
going to do whatever for your customer.
And
I take some of that copy, then look at the sales page and then the swipes, and then mingle it all together and what have you. So that way, you come up with something that looks original. In fact, another very short, quick story. One of our partnership members, who we call her the launching queen,
Shelley Penny.
Yeah, she actually wrote back to me one day and said it was a product of hers I was promoting, and she went, "I loved today's email, Randy. That was brilliant. I loved how you described it all and blah blah blah, and you get some good sales from that." And I went, "Well, I would think so, Shelley. It's your swipe email." And she went, "Is it? Oh my goodness, so it is. Oh, I hadn't realised."
What you changed.
Because I'd swapped it around a bit and changed it around a bit and what have you, adapted it, and she didn't recognise it as being the actual swipe that she gave us to promote her product. So it's great when you've got these personal relationships with people who are doing well, because you do get this feedback one-on-one, and it gives you some nice little anecdotes as well. So, but that, we talked a lot about swipes there, and we mentioned this earlier on about in Gmail, if you find yourself opening and wanting to click or wanting to open, then I don't know, with other, I'm sure it'll be the same. Gmail, you just create a new folder, just call it swipes, and then just move it to there rather than delete. I'm sure it'll be the same with
just about any
other email client.
Make a folder called swipes and then just put them in that folder.
Yeah. Some guys, even do this with sales. But if you get a sales page that you think, "Oh my goodness, I want to buy this product," by all means buy the product, but then download the sales page.
File and save.
And file it
with Chrome, and it'll usually save most of at least the text, So. Yeah,
and that way you've got a swipe file of sales pages as well as emails.
But this is not the copy. This is for
inspiration
to model things like that.
Yeah.
And going back to swipe files as well. What you'll find is with Aweber, it'll tell you the email percentage of opens and clicks and things like that. If you get a subject line that you see has got a ton of opens and a ton of clicks, because sometimes the opens, if you do it wrong, you get an email open, but then you won't get the click if the subscriber feels deceived, like we said earlier. But if you find a certain topic is doing well, copy that subject line, maybe copy that email, because then you can model that in the future. Lots and lots of times I use a subject line, and I only use it once in a while now, but it used to work unbelievably well. Was "You have till midnight." That was it. Now that subject line gets used quite a lot now, but back in the day, I think, right, I will only use that subject line each Sunday. Or if something was closing, and I maybe use it every other week. It wouldn't be, because if you keep doing it, obviously people are going to become blind to it. But you'll find certain words and phrases and subjects or questions, or when we talk earlier about the different subject lines, you'll find certain ones will do better than others. It's for certain points of a promotion, and then you just build that swipe file.
And that's one of the, I don't know if it's the next slide or where we're at with the. Yeah. It's not what I was thinking in my head, but let's move on to the next one, the different styles of email writing. Again, because we're just sort of chatting away, we're both sat here next to each other in John's office, we have covered some of these points. John has a style, I have my style. There's lots of people have different styles, and this is one of the things that, again, when we're doing a one-on-one coaching, I tell people to look out for, because everybody says, I don't know what to do. It's like, look out and study the different styles. And there's like John, as I said, does here's the product, but here's how I think you would benefit from using it, or how I'm going to use it, or whatever. I have hey, I'll tell you about my life and home life and what I'm doing and all the rest of it. And then try and give you some experience from my sales and marketing background. You'll have Tony Shepard has a certain style, which I'm going to come on to at the end. Michael Cheney does his edutainment, where it's a total, you'll have a laugh a minute reading the email, but in that he's educating you and entertaining you at the same time. So there are different styles of email writing. So for those people that go, "Oh, but I'm not a writer,"
What I would say though, and I think this is very, very important, is find your own style. Don't try and be Michael Cheney. Don't try and be Randy Smith. You know, yeah, you can model certain parts, but you don't want to say to yourself, right, I'm going to be like Randy. Okay, today, I took the dog for a walk, and you might try and do that, but you're probably fine.
Classic
You've
one
got to
from
find
years
your own
back.
style.
A lot of the guys won't have heard of him. The Rich Jerk.
Yes.
I mean, the amount of people that tried to copy him and they just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have never tried because I couldn't sit there and insult people all day long.
The Rich Jerk used to, his emails used to insult you and offend. Yeah, I'm the same, but the amount of opens he must have cut, and but it's not my style. Yeah. It's not my style. I won't use bad language in emails. Some marketers do, but for me, it's all about educating people and letting them know what I think will help them. For Randy, yes, he's on a similar level, but it's more about letting you into his life and what he's about and what he does. In the summer, if you're on Randy's list, he'll tell you when he's going on his latest camping trip and where he's going. He'll even tell you where he's going, things like that. You could probably, if you wanted to stop Randy, it wouldn't be very hard at all. Yeah. If you say I'm going into Northallerton Town Centre or, the local town,
into subscribers
that's not for me.
Day out in Whitby and it's like Barry Joyce or whatever. Barry, how you doing?
Yeah, I knew you were here, though, because you read your email. No, but that's not my style. But yeah, I do talk about what I'm doing in my life. Not all the time, but I do see if I'm off to a concert or a football game or a soccer game, depending on where you are in the world.
Although he often talks about his holiday home, hence people end up, taking an interest, and then you go and buy one on the same park.
Yeah.
Yours truly. Finding your own voice. We've all got different styles, but you need to find your voice and what you're comfortable with. So as I say, it's no good trying to be all swearing and foul language if that's not how you normally talk, because you'll find yourself very uncomfortable. And then you won't be able to get your points across because you're trying to fake words that you would never say. So if you're quiet and timid, be quiet and timid. If you're extravagant and exuberant, be that way. If you're enthusiastic, be enthusiastic.
It's like in the real world. Sorry to jump in, man. It's like in the real world. First of all, you're not going to keep all of your subscribers happy, okay? No matter what you do. Like I think I've said before, I can send an email saying, reply to this email and I'll send you $100. People will complain, okay? Even if I was genuinely going to do that, it will cost a lot of money. But what you will find is some people won't like your style and they will unsubscribe, and that's fine, okay? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But the people who like what you're doing will follow everything you do.
Yeah, and if you're being true to yourself, I think it was, who was it? I always get mixed up whether it was George Shaw or Mark Twain. One of them said, be yourself. Everybody else is taken.
Yeah, you can't be anybody else,
So, and it's a case of just be yourself because everybody else is taken. And if you try and this is why I am myself in my emails. And yes, I came from a sales and marketing lifetime worth of background. So I do have a lot of anecdotes and stories that can help educate and train and teach my subscribers, and that's a real benefit for me. But if you're being yourself, and this is why I do the way I do, it's not work, it's just being yourself. When you're having to say, right now, how would the Rich Jerk say this with bad language, every single line of that email takes 20 minutes to construct, so the email takes 4 hours instead of 20 minutes or half an hour.
That is a really good point, Randy. Once you do find your voice and your style, the emails write themselves. Yeah, they write themselves, and it might be hard at the start, but over time, it's a bit like what we talked about with the blogging. The first few posts might be a little bit harder, but once you start doing it and get into the habit of writing your emails, just to point out as well, for example, Michael Cheney writes all of his emails for the week on Monday. He does that, and then he's got his emails queued up. He's told me that many times. I can't do that. I like to write every day because something might happen.
Exactly.
You might get a lot of people responding about how they love the product. You might find out that there's something else that you might find halfway through the week, like, oh, I didn't tell them about XYZ. And then you've got...
The only time I write emails in advance is if I'm away for a few days, camping or whatever, in a field with no signal. And then I tell people, hey, I'm writing some emails in advance because I'm going away in a field. And then my email on the Saturday might be, well, I must be sat in the field by now, and you're probably sat at home looking at this because I told you I'd send you a freebie.
The wonders of automation.
And etc. So speaking of follow-up emails if we're away, what do you do? One-offs or follow-ups? And this is something we just wanted to cover for if you're on a big launch, really. We do see these marketers that every single day it's today's the best thing since sliced bread, forget yesterday's product. Today's the best thing to forget yesterday's product. And they jump from one to the next to the next. And it's almost like, oh, well, if I don't make $1,000 today, I'm not going to carry on promoting it. You know, and it's like, oh, I thought it was about what's good for your subscriber, not what's best for your bank account. You know?
I'm a strong believer in following up and doing campaigns, not promoting different products every day. You'll probably not see me promote more than 3 products in a week. That is rare as well. It's usually 2, sometimes only 1 if it's a big launch that I'm really getting behind. And if you do it right, let's just say you've got a launch happening on Tuesday, okay? Sometimes I'll have my campaign planned out in my head, or I might have taken some notes, and I will know it will end on Sunday. So I might sell 1 or 2 emails in the first day just to get that initial spike of sales. Then what you'll find happens is the next 2 or 3 days I might only send 1 a day, and usually by the time we get to Friday or Saturday I'll increase my emails. But all the time I'm working on the close, okay? Yes, I'm educating people about the product. I might be offering bonuses. I might offer more bonuses as we go through, which is called bonus stacking. But by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, I'm telling my subscribers, look, I've been telling you about this all week. This is what, this is how it's going to help you. But you need to start, this is when the scarcity kicks in. And when we get to Sunday, I'll usually send 3 emails on a Sunday, sometimes 2, sometimes 3.
But again, the emails in the week,
the sequence. But if I promote a different product,
through from each other.
If I promote a different product every day, not only would I upset my subscribers, I definitely would not make as many commissions. Yeah. And I don't get why do these marketers promote different products every day when if they just stuck with one promotion, they'd probably make more, probably 10 times more.
Literally yesterday, I made more sales than I've made all week promoting Dawood's email course. And I don't know why, but
you're following up.
But I've been following up every day. But yesterday, suddenly it was like bang, and I'm like, well, what did I do different there?
Well, you need to go back and check your subject line.
It could be that they've been reading through the week, and this is what I'm saying about follow-ups. It's not just here's an email about so and so, buy this, and then the next day, have you bought this yet? It's like, oh, here's another point I found about that product. Oh, and there's this extra thing it does. So the emails, as in a follow-up series.
It's something I'll do as well. If this is one reason I don't like queuing my emails at the start of the week. Let's say on day 3 the product gets product of the day, or hits the top of the Warrior Plus leaderboard or the JVZoo leaderboard. That's then something I can use because I say, look, people are loving this. People are thinking it's fantastic. No one's refunded yet because I'll ask these questions or go and find the stats. No one's refunded, so it shows you how good the product is, etc., etc. So if you do it real time as well, you can inform people in real time.
And as you say, you've got a series that might educate about different parts of the product through the week rather than trying to cram it all in one email. So definitely follow-ups.
Do not promote a different product every day. There you go.
And then using a PS as well. It should be a full stop after that S, John, technically. Check my emails when it says PS, there's always a dot after the S. But using PSs is powerful, and it's one of those things where a lot of people use it as same as on a sales page. You use a PS to just try and get the bullet points of, if you've got a longish email, wrap it up in a PS so that if you get a skimmer, that jump straight to the bottom of the PS.
I'll be honest, I do that, yeah.
They get the main points, which will hopefully encourage them to go back and read the rest of the email and click, or just click. But it's another tool that you can use to get a click.
A recent promo I'm doing right now. PS, remember this is only $7.95. Now, when I get towards the end of the week, or the end of the close, which I do believe is in a couple of days' time, PS, remember this expires tonight, or expires tomorrow. Little things like that will make people, oh, hold on. Oh, $7.95 because of Skim Pass where you said that. Or, oh my God, oh, it's closing tomorrow. Right, I need to go and check this out now. John's been emailing me for 2 or 3 days. I think now's the time I'm going to click and go and do something. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're all people, and that's one of the things that I want to touch on is remember that you aren't writing, and this is one of the things that bugs me with the gurus. It's all about numbers, lists, sizes, numbers, stats. At the end of the day, at the end of every one of those email addresses isn't a computer that's opening the email or a device, right? It's a person. Yeah. It's people, so don't treat them as numbers and stats. Treat them as people and go back to what we said right at the start. Right, as though you're talking to one person.
Yeah,
and
I
try
think we
and
can
help
take
that
this
one
to the. I
person.
think we can take this on to final tips. That's a good point you made there, Andy. It's real people with real emotions, real problems.
Yeah.
Trying to better their lives for whatever reason, trying to make money online, trying to build a list.
You just remind me of something as well. When you get the stroppy email back,
Yeah.
and you think, oh, and you just want to go, who's that? Are you? And you've got to think, hang on a minute, he's a person.
You might be having
Did
a bad
my
day.
email just hit at a
Trigger
time when
trigger
something's
something, yeah.
happened and it's triggered something and he's having a bad day? So I try and politely say, look, there's no need to be rude and like
I always
this.
reply to those people, by the way.
And you'd be surprised how many people reply back and go, oh, do you know what? I was having a bad day and somebody else wound me up and that wasn't even meant to go to you. That was meant to go to the guy whose email I wrote before you and all sorts of things. We're in the people business by way of internet marketing.
That's a good point.
And then some final tips for those that sit and have been through all of this now and go, but Randy, I still haven't a clue. Yeah. This is where I wanted to mention another market that I follow and I open his emails. If you can't think of anything, then go and do a search for there's a site called Top Tens with a Z. There'll be other sites like that, and just look for top 10 weird, bizarre movie, whatever it might be. You could go movies, you could go bizarre stories, you could go government stories, you could go conspiracy theories, you can go whatever. And find something that's got an interesting, engaging story where you can put a PS and have some half-hearted resemblance of a tie-in to a product. And that way you can just reword a story in your own words that could be, did you hear about the man who went fishing and got stabbed by a swordfish? As your curiosity line, and then the story will be all about how he went fishing and got stabbed by this swordfish, and if it wasn't for the Coast Guard and this, that and the other, and luckily it was this, that and the other, and just as well he was having a lucky day. And then PS, if you want a lucky day, you should check out this product. It could help you in your internet marketing.
Yeah.
That way all you're using is your PS, which is why I had that in the slide before. You use your PS as your tie-in to sell something with a one-line pitch. And you just find a loose tie-in.
Two marketers who I see do that. Tony Shepard.
Yes.
And Michael Cheney sometimes does that. He'll tell a story. He'll tell us an engaging story, and then he'll tie it in with or the last paragraph might mention. What he's
but you can find these stories all over the internet. Some of the clickbait that John was talking about, when you look at all these BuzzFeed and whoever, and you should see the state of so-and-so. They couldn't believe it when they said whatever. And it's like, each click that you go and you're like, well, I'm only even half interested. But it's like, yeah, but if there's a story there you can reword, make it a little bit more interesting, pop it in and then tie into whether it's somebody was lucky and it's your lucky day, we've got this link for you. Whether it was, oh, that was awful, wasn't it? Hope you don't have that bad a day. You won't if you click this link. So you can always just do stories, be yourself, talk about your granny's apple pie. Nobody will mind as long as you're being your authentic self, and then tie into your PS, here's a link. And then a couple of other final tips for you. I get a lot of people stay on my list seeing when they don't want to buy anything, and eventually they might buy something because they stay on because I do a daily joke, a smile of the day. And I've had people tell me I'm wrong, you shouldn't do that, this is a commercial email, how dare you try and make me smile at the end of it. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I just figure like whether in business or not, we're all entitled to a smile every day. But some people I've seen and suggested and seen people do with whether you're a certain religious denomination, you could have quotes from your holy books at the end of your email. You could have, if you're a motivational type person, you could have motivational quotes at the bottom of your email, quote of the day. You could have a business leader's quote of the day. And
people might just open your email like you're saying,
so just to see what the business quote of the day is, or the motivational quote of the day is, or the funny of the day, or whatever of the day, whether it be a quote, a motivational, financial, any type of the day. You could do that in your PSs or a PPS like I do, and that can keep people engaged and on your list and what have you.
Just for that, yeah.
Just for that. So yes, we're in the people business by way of whatever we're marketing, And
Yeah.
just remember that.
Always, yeah, the final word I'm gonna say is always have your subscribers' interested heart. Don't look at them like a cash cow. Look at them at people who've actually opted in or bought one of your products, or gone to your blog and opted in, and serve them.
Yeah.
Don't look at them to make money. Look, if you serve them, you won't have to worry about making money, because that will happen all on its own.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Okay, so hopefully this has helped, and depending where you're at, I mean, I know we're putting this training sort of at the end of phase 1, but we want to sort of make sure you've got all of this before we move on. You might already be getting subscribers, but believe me, in just a few weeks' time, you're going to have your product ready, and you're going to start launching, and that's when the real big things happen. But at least now you've got the foundation, so when you do start getting those first subscribers, if you implement what we're talking about, and don't treat your list like a cash cow, treat them like real people, believe me, you will go a lot further. Especially as well, I mean, just a little fun thing, so many people are mailing, the people opening our emails, we're competing with all these other marketers, and you've got to just stand out, and the best way to stand out is to have their interests at heart.
Yeah.
Okay, right then, we'll end it there, and
Thanks, guys.
yeah, we will catch you on the next one.